I'm willing to say he's the basement coach of the year.
Two games, they're going to get something rolling.
I don't think there is a better episode title for this than the simple words, "We are back." Keegan Hamlet and Tyler Sumner are in our YouTube video. They're going to be joining the folks on Facebook in a few moments. And once they do, I cannot wait to say the beautiful intro. I'm not going to say it without them in both places. So Tyler is joining. Keegan is. Good morning, Al Dias. Hope you're well. One of our many valued sponsors here. Chad Gonsalves as well. I don't think he's here yet. All right, everyone's here. This is the Sports Saga podcast presented by Al Dias Electric and the Gonsalves family team of Keller Williams, South Watauga. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Brady Kudo, joined by the voice of Blue Raider Studios, Keegan Hamlet, and the Bryce Hopkins fanboy, Tyler Sumner. All right. Couple things. One, it is so good to see you all again. Thank you, everyone, for watching again. Really quickly, thoughts, our prayers, our love, and our condolences are with Damar Hamlin and his family. Damar, I know he'll probably never see this, but you have been an inspiration to millions throughout the country, throughout the world. And everyone is rooting for you to get better. From what I'm told, he is breathing now 50% on his own, making incredible progress. So a huge, I want to say shout out, but I don't even think that's the right word. In a positive way, of course. Go ahead, Tyler, but thoughts are good.
I think the word we're looking for really here, Brady, is all we can do is applaud.
Yes, that's the word. Good word.
I mean, you have to think about it like this. He died on the field.
Yep.
And then he died again in the hospital. Not many people come out of cardiac arrest like that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is to correct you where you said 50%. He's actually 100%.
Oh, he is 100. The last I read, he was 50.
Him off. Yes, he
Awesome.
FaceTimed his Bills teammates.
I heard
and
about
the
that.
first thing he did when he was still on the ventilator was he wrote, "Did we win?"
Yeah.
So that goes to show you that Damar Hamlin's not even being selfish about himself, asking about his health. He's asking about his team. Like, did they win? And also, you have to give a huge props to the medical personnel responding, because if they weren't there and they had to wait for an ambulance, we would be having a totally different conversation here right now.
Yeah.
This is a young man who, much before this, not a lot of people heard of Damar Hamlin.
No.
Not a lot of people knew about Damar Hamlin. And I actually saw on TikTok, I don't know if you guys know who Emmanuel Acho is.
Yes.
He's a very, very professional speaker. And you were sitting there and you were just listening to him. And every time he was asking a question and giving a description, he would end the sentence with, "Who is Damar Hamlin?" And another thing, too, is, Bills Mafia. They always, look back at Josh Allen when his grandma passed away. Bills Mafia donated a bunch to Josh Allen.
Yes.
That karma comes back around. And now look at what Bills Mafia has done to donate to their own Damar Hamlin, the Chasing M's Foundation, reaching over, I believe it's over $8 million now.
That's correct.
So just huge props to the medical personnel, the training staff. But also with Damar Hamlin, we can't forget about T. Higgins. Prayers to him, too. I'm sure this is still not easy for him to go through. But yeah, Keegan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I also give huge props to the league, too, because they're updating all their profile pictures to his jersey number. They're putting the 3 on the field by the 30-yard line. So that just shows really what he means to the league, the community, and the team himself. So I think everybody came out.
All right. And one last intro personal touch. I received many questions as to why are you going back? You had this thing called Kudo's Corner. Why are you changing the name again? I just wanted to put it out there. I didn't tell a lot of people. After a couple of talks, the Fans Only Sports Network and I came to a mutual agreement to part ways. Very thankful and grateful and fortunate to have been with that company for the last 6 months, but through conversations, some things just didn't work out, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get too much into it. So that's why. And you know what? If it's not broke, don't fix it. This wasn't broke, and I tried to fix it. And I don't know personally what's next for me, but the man upstairs has some plan, and we got to trust in him and his faith and his little plan. So I just want to put that out there. Keegan Hamlet killing it as usual as the voice of Blue Raider Studios. He has been all over southeastern Massachusetts. Tyler Sumner killing it at Dean College, doing some public address announcing and color commentary. So I want to put it out there that if you know of any local broadcasting network that could use guys like us, let us know. I, for one, I'm always looking for new opportunities as sponsorships as well. If you know of a local business who wants to help an up and coming podcast out, you know what? We're open to any and all offers. So again, shoot us a message, write us an email. I'll put that in the description and stuff below. All right, let's get right into it. I can't wait any corner. That's a little, spoiler alert. Keegan's Corner, presented by the Gonsalves family team at Keller Williams, Southwood Tuppa. Keegan, I lead you with this question. Are the Somerset Berkeley Raiders the best team in Division II?
So right now, Somerset Berkeley, they're 7-0 on the year. They're 3-0 in conference play. They just came off a huge win Wednesday night against the co-op of the Seekonk Warriors and the Dighton Rehoboth Falcons. They're the only unbeaten team right now in the whole division, the 50-plus teams. They have the best record in the conference. I still don't think they are the best Division II team, and this is why. Because I look at who they've played in their entirety. The first 5 or so games, they played Apponequet twice. They had Mount Hope. They had New Bedford. It's like those are gimme wins. Most of those are gimme wins, are comfortable. And of course, they were without Noah Taylor their first 5 games. But you expect them to beat them pretty much every single time they play. Now, sometimes it can be a toss-up. And some of the games were close, like the second Apponequet game, it was 2-0. And then the Mansfield game, when Noah came back, it was 3-2. But that DRS game Wednesday night, that was the only game that they played all together as a team when everybody was there. So I don't know if that's going to come back later in the season, like just the inexperience of everybody there, because you have to get used to being on the lines with everybody.
Right.
So I don't know if that's going to come back later in the season to haunt them. They were scheduled for a game last night against Dartmouth. That got postponed. If that game finished up and ended up being played yesterday, it might have been a different answer to that question. But right now, no.
See, this is where we were talking about it. We've been talking about it over the last week or so, and I disagree with the statement. There's a reason why they're the lone unbeaten team in Division II. Yeah, I know you had your gimme wins, right? New Bedford Vogue, which I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was, but it was pretty bad. And Mount Hope, right? But you look at the DRS game. DRS was the favorites out of the South Coast Conference. Had a great run in the Crusader Christmas Classic. I was able to watch them for a couple of days. And you were just like, man, if anyone's going to challenge them being Somerset Berkeley, it's going to be DRS, no doubt about it. DRS is resilient, but resilience is only going to get you so far because you got to put the puck in the back of the net when it matters. And Somerset does that. I know offense wins you games and defense wins championships. Yeah, that's true. But when you got a defense that's given up 1.7 goals per game, you're going to be okay. And when you're averaging, your average final for this team is 5-2. Specifically, it's like 4.6 to 1.7. All right. I just, round up a little bit. But I mean, just there's everything there. And we'll get into our early all-star lines in a minute. But everything is just there for them. I know you're talking about competition. Yeah, that's all well and dandy. They've played some good teams on paper, at least. I know.
Yeah, like I'm not saying that they're not good. Like I think this DRS team is not as good as last year, and I think the Somerset Berkeley team is way better than it was last year because you get the pickup, especially of Kean Stafford, that the transfer
He
from
has
the
been.
Houston Wild. He's amazing.
I think he's blowing everybody's mind. But I think we looked at you were talking about when the real first test was, and I said, well, it's going to be DRS. I wanted to see them play Dartmouth. That didn't happen.
I think everybody wanted to see them.
They have Mansfield coming up in. Or they already played Mansfield, rather.
Yeah, they played Mansfield. They have them again in February, and they also have a Medfield game coming up in 2 weeks. That's going to be a big test.
That's a test. I think if they're going to lose a game so far, it's going to be that one.
Yeah.
But we touched upon Apponequet. They're sitting at 1-6 right now. What's gone wrong?
So their only win of the season was the opening Prenda Cup game against the new Diamond Durfee Co-op. Like, I had them even competing towards a 500 record at the beginning of the year. I even had them potentially winning the Prenda Cup against Somerset Berkeley. I think there's 3 aspects you can look at if you're Apponequet of why this season hasn't gone too well. Number one, it's the injuries. Every position, forward, defenseman, even their goalie with Tyler Praviti, they keep getting hurt. And it's tough, even like from a mental standpoint, from a player, because you have to watch those guys get hurt and then leave the bench. You're not going to have them on the bench to give you like that push, like, oh, come on, guys, keep bringing the fight and stuff like that. And you also take away, like, again, what we mentioned about Somerset Berkeley and some players missing all the games, you take away building upon with your line together, and you have to switch players around to get it even. Another thing is not enough depth. It's still a very young Apponequet team, and they can always turn it around next year. They don't have too many seniors on that team that are going to be leaving next year. But just if you look at the third line, fourth line, it's just not where it needs to be to compete just yet. And that's where Somerset Berkeley really has improved this year, because you look at some guys who were third, fourth liners last year that have now built themselves onto that second and third line. And you even have the freshmen down low, even with Cam McKenna. He's already got a few goals this year. He's been really impressing me.
Swansea product, by the way. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
Swansea product.
Yeah, right. And also number 3, kind of similar to the other 2. I kind of mentioned a little bit about it. It's the inexperience too. Just a lot of young players. They'll build upon it. Ed Botello is one of the bigger names in terms of the hockey community in southeastern New England. Yeah. He's always at the rink, booking all the rink time. He'll get it all settled. He's been there forever. So I trust him in that Apponequet side to get better.
Yeah, speaking of Apponequet side, at least this is in my all-star prediction so far. I did finalize it. We're going to be doing it simply. Keegan, I'll let you go first. You can just bang yours out of the way. We're going to go with top line. So 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goaltender. Give me your front line first. Give me your forwards.
All right. So front line, I have 2 captains, actually 3 of them, actually, that are all going to be the forwards. I have our very own Davis Sullivan. He's got 8 goals this year. He finished with 15 last year. He might even break that. I didn't even think it was going to come close to that. And he's already halfway through, and we're only 7 games into the year. He's got the speed. He's got the puck handling. He's got the shot. It's right there. Second, I have from DRS, Noah Bastis. Again, unbelievable player. He's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's any surprise. Again, I honestly don't know how many they pick total for the conference, how many from each team, but he's one of my top 3 if you're going to pick a 3. And I am picking somebody from Apponequet that's also a forward too. It's Will Harrop, one of the senior forwards. He's shown he can be like a resilient player time and time again. He scored in the Prenda final. He gave Apponequet the lead in the Prenda final back a few weeks ago in December at the Driscoll Arena. And a lot of players, I know a lot of people from Apponequet, they always talk highly of him, just like as a player, what he brings to the team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I put Harrop on mine just because, I mean, resilient, shot creator, shot scorer as well. Yeah. Noah Bastis in the middle. I mean, again, I watched him play. That kid is just special.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Special. Hard shot, tough kid, really good skater all around. But the one difference I put Kean Stafford in here. Now, I know he's the second line right wing for the Raiders, but he leads them in points. Nobody really knew what to make of him, especially because he's coming in from halfway across the country. Yeah, I know he played junior, but he's torn it up.
He did.
Has. And I know you're saying, oh, he only played well against the bad teams. No, not necessarily.
No, Snyder keeps him in on that top power play line. He keeps him in with him
exactly.
And now Noah Taylor and Davis Sullivan.
Exactly. So I'm only expecting his month of January for just his production to increase.
Yeah.
Again, really, really just hard shot creator. My defense, I'll just bang this out. Matt Costa and Colton Naster.
Yep, I have the same too.
Beautiful. Give the explanation why.
Yeah, so I'll start out with Matt Costa. So we get to talk a little bit during the summer. I get to watch him play in the Summer League too, which they held at the Alexo Arena right in Taunton. And he seemed surprised when I said, like, oh, I would have him as a pick for an alternate captain or a captain. But I see the leadership that he brings. I see more energy out of him than some of the other players, I'm not going to mention names, that could have also been a captain or an alternate captain. He's probably, if not the fastest, he's one of the fastest guys out there. He's shown time and time again he can do a big play, big hit, whenever. And in the Taunton game, he's shown that he can score a big goal if they need him to. And Colton Naster, the other captain for the DRS side, again, great player, just like Matt Costa, that can get a big hit whenever you need it. He can always set up plays, lots of assists so far. So I think that's really, if they nominate more than two, fine. But if you're bringing those two, I don't think there's any doubt that it's those two. And I don't think there's any doubt on the goalie that they're going to.
Ready. 1, 2, 3.
Brandon Silva.
All right. Tyler's take, presented by Aldias Electric. Just how good are the Providence Friars?
Well, Brady, first, before we get into that, I must correct you. It's not Providence Friars. It's the Providence Friars.
Friars, my bad.
Okay. and just how good is this team? Well, let me tell you this. Okay. The Providence Friars are amongst the Big East Conference. They're first. Okay.
Yep.
And this is a team that we had concerns about because they were going to be so young. Guys like Al Durham, Nate Watson, AJ Reeves, the other guy who's from Charlotte, who's on the Hornets right now. I forgot his name.
Yeah, Manaya.
Manaya. We had concerns about this team because they were going to be so young, and the only guy who had the veteran leadership was Jared Bynum. However, the Friars are currently 14-3 with a conference record of 6-0. So they sit atop the Big East Conference. The Friars are 10-0 at home this year. They're 4-1 on the road and on a win streak of 9. Now, how good are the Friars, you ask? That was a question. I think they're at the point right now, Brady, where they need to be ranked. I think Monday they need to be ranked. Top 5, no, because you're going to have teams like Purdue, Duke, all those. But I could see them being possibly at the bottom half of the top 10.
No.
I really could.
No.
Top 15.
No.
Top 15 they could be.
No, you have to start out low. You have to start low.
Of course. I'm saying like in the future, if they keep this momentum up, they could get top. They could be top 15.
Oh, yes. In February.
But right now, I think you put them above Marquette.
Yeah, Marquette's not going to be ranked. No.
They're going to be in the top 20, I think, early 20s. Not like –
yeah.
I think they'll be above 25, 24, and 23. I see them falling in the 22 and 21 or 20 mark.
I see them – all right. Let me actually load up the AP Top 25 poll. Because you've got Purdue who's going to drop. Houston's going to be number 1.
And UConn's going to drop.
UConn's going to drop. Houston, I think, is going to be number 1. Wow, we already have 10 minutes left. That's crazy. So yeah, we gotta bang this out quick.
Are we gonna just hop into another Zoom meeting after?
No. We don't need to.
Okay.
I can talk quick. Houston's gonna be number 1. Or Kansas, one of the two will be number 1. Arizona's gonna drop. They lost to Washington yesterday. UConn's gonna drop. Bama's gonna be a top 5 team. Duke's gonna drop. Indiana's going to drop. That's 15 and 16 right there. So what does that mean? That means Xavier's going up to the top 15. It means TCU's probably going to the top 15. Missouri's going to go up, probably to 18. Auburn's probably going to go down. I know they just beat, I think, Arkansas. I think they're going to drop out of the rankings. But you got to think, where does Providence fit in all of this? if Providence needs Maryland to win today, so Ohio State can drop. Iowa State, I don't recall if they won or lost, but you got to imagine you've got, let's see, you're going to have, I think New Mexico won yesterday. You're going to have Baylor drop. Actually, Baylor lost to K-State. So when three teams drop roughly out of the rankings, I think Baylor will drop out of the rankings. Auburn will probably drop out of the ranking. K-State's going to be ranked. And I think Providence is going to be ranked. I think Providence will come in at like 23. K-State a little higher, maybe 21.
I'm going to quote this now. If Providence does not get ranked, we're starting a hashtag on social media called #RankProvidence.
That's been around since last year.
Yeah, fine by me.
But transitioning into that, Brady, right. The Friars' success, I think a key point of it right now, we have to look at a man who I had the privilege of meeting. He's my favorite player on the Friars. I followed him in Kentucky.
Yeah.
A guy who's the same age as me, actually, believe it or not. I'm talking about Bryce Hopkins.
Did you ask him to dinner yet?
Hey, we're not that far yet. We're still in the talking stage, okay, buddy? All right. But here's his season stats so far. He's averaging 16 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and his field goal percentage is 48%. Bryce has had some of the biggest games for the Friars this season. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Without him, you could really make the argument that if he didn't go on that scoring tier that he went on against UConn, that we possibly could have lost that game.
Yeah.
Because our first half was sloppy, very sloppy against UConn. He put up in the UConn game 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 block over number 4 ranked UConn. And the majority of those points, Brady, came from the free throw line, because that's one thing that he's so good at, is getting the fouls drawn on him. Another one, Hopkins put up 29 points, and this was really what made me oh my God, this guy is going to be a key factor for us, is the game he had against Marquette. 9 points and 23 rebounds.
That's unheard of.
That's more athleticism than I have in my pinky finger. And he also scored 24 points and 10 rebounds in a conference victory against Seton Hall. So with this, guys, I asked you this, how big of a factor, how big of a piece of the puzzle is Bryce Hopkins and for the success of this Providence Friars team that we have right now?
He's a very big
huge
piece, I think. And I'm going to mention one thing that you didn't mention very quickly, Tyler, about the Friars. I don't think this team's better than last year's team, but I think this team has more depth than last year's team, because you have more players who can come off the bench that really, with last year's team, you didn't have that many two-town. You have a rookie this year, Jaden Pierre, who's shown he can be really good off the bench.
Yeah, no, that's true. You're right. I was going to be I don't know, but no, you're.
And also Noah Locke
right.
Playing phenomenal as well. 18 points yesterday.
Yeah.
But Brady, I go back and ask you this. I know you're a Devin Carter guy, and Devin Carter's also been a huge part of this success.
Yeah.
So why don't you touch on and speak on a little bit about why Devin Carter and Bryce Hopkins are going to be the key factors for the Friars to win games now that Jared Bynum's hurt?
Well, it comes out of this, right? Devin Carter's my ideal shooting guard, 3-and-D. My favorite, my pick for Big East Defensive Player of the Year. 3rd in steals right now. You can make that argument for Posh Alexander as well to be Defensive Player of the Year, but Carter, smooth defender in transition, doesn't foul a lot, guards the perimeter very, very well. And from 3-point land, I mean, you give him an open look, forget about it. Very similar to Noah Locke, not Noah Locke, Horkler rather, who was a 3-and-D power forward. They don't make those anymore, right? You just don't see a 3-and-D power forward. So that's the aspect of him I like. But I know I'm going to go back to Hopkins really, really briefly, then we're going to move on. You were talking about Bryce Hopkins for your Big East Player of the Year.
Yes.
I'm going to disagree right now. And I'm going to give it to Joel Soriano from the St. John's Red Storm. People are forgetting how good of a season St. John's is having, all things considering. Joel Soriano is.
Are we sure about that? Because
I'm positive.
second to last place in the Big East.
conference. It's a long season. It's a long conference season. They found a 4-game skid. Joel Soriano was in 4th place in points, averaging 16.2, first in rebounds at 12. So he's averaging a double-double. And there was one more step. 5th in field goal percentage, shooting 60.9%. I love efficiency out of basketball players, especially centers. And Joel Soriano's been breathing that. I know he's not going to be the first name off of people's head when it comes to Big East Player of the Year. But I think over time, if St. John's could go on a run and win 4 of their next 5 and bounce back, get your easy wins against DePaul, Georgetown, and I'll even say Creighton at this point, because I don't know what has happened to them, and even Seton Hall as well. But if you could pull an upset over, I'll consider St. John's beating Villanova. I think they play soon, Saturday, I think. And I think that game, I could be wrong, that game is in Villanova. I don't know. We could see something really quick.
And you also said right now too, so that can always.
I said right now. That could change really quick.
Yeah, really quick, Brady. The other thing the reason I got Bryce Hopkins at my Big East Player of the Year is because look at where he's come from and look at the growth he's shown. Last year, being a freshman at Kentucky, I mean, Kentucky's arguably the biggest basketball school in the country.
He just wasn't given the opportunities. That's all.
He wasn't given the opportunity. He was only scoring 2 points a game
and playing 7 minutes a game.
7 minutes a game. Now look at what he's doing. He's arguably the reason the Friars are winning these big games.
Yeah.
And the efficiency too, you mentioned. Like, how many times has he put up this season numerous games with multiple double-digit stat lines, points and rebounds? He's had double-double games multiple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bryce Hopkins, my favorite player. Hopefully we'll get him on the podcast one day.
Yeah.
And my Big East Player of the Year.
All right, let's get into Brady's bunch really quickly. I want to talk about the NFC playoff picture really, really quickly. Are the Eagles for real? I know there's been talk. There's been talk about.
Yes.
That's the most biased answer you've ever given.
No, I'm not giving a biased answer. I actually think they're for real.
Hold on. Yeah, I know Jalen Hurts. They're like, oh, he's only doing well because AJ Brown. No, the Eagles are my pick to make it out of the NFC. Whoever they play in the NFC Championship game could be the Cowboys. Could be the Bucks. I don't know. It ain't going to be Minnesota. I give you that. It's not going to be Minnesota. And I want to get into one last question, a potential Cinderella.
The Detroit Lions.
There's a team that plays in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Oh, my God.
You know what?
Stop.
I'm on that train, man.
Stop.
If there's a team, if there is a wild card team, aside from the Dallas Cowboys, I'll consider the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a wild card because they're bad. To make it to the NFC Championship game, it is the consistency and the dominance of the New York Giants. That's all the time we've got. Facebook, you know what? I'm going to give a little bonus on Facebook. We're going to have a bonus segment on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, stay right there. For those of you watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you like our Facebook. Go join our Facebook group. Follow us on Instagram. Keegan, Tyler, I'm Brady. We'll see you soon.